Log on to drphil.com. You can also join the conversation today on Facebook and Twitter. So long.
Dr. Phil, a woman he's never seen.
You met on a dating site, and she's attractive.
She's attractive.
For the last 6 years, I've been trying to help Kelly get these steel boxes shipped to the United States.
2 boxes he's never examined.
Box 1 has $3.5 million. Box 2, there's diamonds and jewelry.
Mark believes he's going to come into millions of dollars with a beautiful woman.
I've spent over $750,000 getting these boxes.
Is there a possibility that this is a scam?
I don't think you know the whole story yet.
I'm trying to understand the story.
I'm trying to explain it to you. You're getting it mixed up.
You keep telling me different stories. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. Well, today we're talking to Mark, who is both a respected doctor and father, who joined an online dating site after his divorce where he met an attractive blonde named Kelly Smith, who he described as incredibly honest, decent, and kind. 3 days into talking, Mark says Kelly told him that her father passed away and left her $3.5 million in cash and $3 million in jewelry and diamonds. She supposedly put everything into 2 metal boxes and agreed to give Mark 50% of her inheritance if he would help her get the boxes from Nigeria to the U.S. Sound too good to be true? Well, Mark thought so. In fact, he immediately thought it was a scam until he talked to the mystery woman, Kelly, and she reassured him that it was real. So Mark says he paid $22,000 to have the ownership of the boxes changed to his name and started the process of having the boxes shipped to the United States. Now, Mark says he sold his house, took the money from his clinic, and stopped paying his taxes so he could send hundreds of thousands of dollars to Nigeria, Dubai, and Malaysia to cover customs fees in order to get the boxes into the United States. 6 years have passed. The boxes have still not arrived. But that has not stopped Mark from trying to help Kelly. Take a look.
I met Kelly on Match.com. She seemed really nice. She told me she was from Canada and she now lives in Nigeria. Her father left her deed to property in Nigeria worth about $3.5 million and goods worth $2 or $3 million. She told me she had the money and goods put in 2 steel boxes. For the last 6 years, I've been trying to help Kelly get these steel boxes shipped from Nigeria to the United States. Kelly wants to come to the United States and live here, but she has more control of what's going on by staying there until the boxes get here. I decided to help her because she needs the help, and she also made me a partner. Since it's taken so long, we decided to split the boxes 50-50. I've spent over $750,000 getting these boxes shipped to this country. I've been working with a professional shipper that Kelly hired named Adiola. We're afraid if the boxes are opened by customs somewhere around the world, they will be stolen or confiscated. I'm paying a lot of money for special documents and stickers to prevent it from happening. The most stressful part of this is more than 6 or 7 times Mr. Adiola has told me that with X amount of dollars, we're gonna get this done. And it seems like when it's paid, then something else comes up. If everything that Kelly's telling me is true, I'm saving her life.
Okay, well, first, you met on a dating site, right?
Yes,
And she's attractive.
she's attractive.
Let's take a look at her profile. She's a Canadian. She used to be named Linda Johnson, but she had an abusive ex-husband and that threatened to kill her, right?
Yes.
So as a result, she had to change her name.
And he took everything that she had.
Took it all.
Everything.
So she changed her name and she moved to Nigeria to get away from him.
No, she found the deed to this property and a key or a note for the safety deposit box that her father left her in Nigeria.
Oh, I
so
see.
she went to Nigeria for that.
Okay, and her father passed away and left her 2 boxes in Nigeria.
She put everything into the 2 boxes. She went to Nigeria, sold the property back to the Nigerian government, and went to the safe deposit box that her father left her and got apparently a lot of jewelry and other expensive items. And
Wait a minute, she sold the property to the government?
Yes,
Why'd the government want to buy the property?
it was great property. Her father was an investor actually in oil, and he bought this property and never died before he did anything with it, from what I understand. I may not be able to answer every detail, but that's what I understand.
But the government bought the property?
Yes, the government bought the property from her.
Why didn't no governments did that? But okay, so, and where did the things come from? Because box 1 has $3.5 million U.S. currency in it, right?
Yes,
And where did that money come from?
That was from the sale of the property.
So the Nigerian government paid her in U.S. currency?
Yes.
Reckon why they did that?
You'd have to ask them.
Well,
I don't know.
Why do you think so she's in Nigeria,
I think because
selling Nigerian property to Nigerian government, and they say, do you take U.S.
I guess they
cash?
I'm not going to explain how or why. I'm just telling you the story.
Okay, so they bought this property back from her, and they just happened to have some U.S. currency on hand, so they paid her in U.S. currency.
I wouldn't be surprised if a government has U.S. currency
Right.
on hand because
I mean, she's Canadian.
She's Canadian. Originally, she lived in Texas. She lived in the United Kingdom.
They didn't pay her in Canadian money. They paid her in U.S. money. They're Nigerian. She's Canadian, but they paid her in U.S. currency. Okay, box 2, there's $3 million in diamonds and jewelry.
I don't know the exact numbers. It's approximate. And he left her some diamonds and jewelry. Yes.
Okay, but she didn't get that from the Nigerian government.
No,
that was
from
from
the
him.
safety deposit box.
Okay, but you've got to get that back here, or it's no good to you over there.
Or her.
Or her. So you hired a shipper.
She did.
She did, named Mr. Adiola.
Right.
And he's trying to get the boxes to the U.S.
She paid him to get these boxes shipped.
Okay.
To me.
I got
a lot of questions.
I got 2 words for you. FedEx?
Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, but Dr. Phil, I can't. You need to speak with her and Adiola about asking questions about how to ship.
I would love to.
I know you would. I've spoken to him many, many times, as a matter of fact.
Why not FedEx?
I don't think that it works that way. They'd have to still go through customs. They'd have to still open the boxes and get it.
Your problem is you don't want these boxes opened.
She doesn't either. That's the main thing.
But why not?
I think the understanding is if they get opened somewhere around the world, wherever they stop, and they see what's in there, it's going to be confiscated or stolen or, just never make it to where it's supposed to go.
Okay. Why not go to the bank in Nigeria and get a cashier's check or just wire the money?
I have found over the last 6 years that wiring money around the world, and especially to Nigeria, it is very difficult. But again, you're asking me questions that I can't answer.
Well, in 6 years, did you ever ask that question?
We already started shipping the boxes.
But why ship the cash if you can just wire the money or,
Well,
or get a cashier's check?
What about the jewelry?
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but you could at least get half of it. You get the cash over here.
That
I mean,
sounds
cash
good.
is king.
I wish I could tell you that that's how easy it would have been, but it's not what we did. You are sitting on that side of the table saying all the things that makes this look like a scam.
You are an intelligent man. You are a doctor. The hell you sending custom fees to Wisconsin for? And later, bring out these boxes. Come over here.
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? Hey, don't keep me outside all this damn
Yeah,
heat.
it's outside today.
You gonna invite me to that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8/7 Central.
Hey, girls! Hi. Are you kidding me? Is that for me? How? Oh, can't wait to see what you got your mother.
The BMW Road Home Sales Event, on now. Receive a credit of up to $3,250 on select models now through January 3rd.
People who come to Cricket, stay with Cricket.
Little did we know that switching to Cricket was going to be a major upgrade. The 5G is like fast.
Switch for the speed, stay for the savings. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Let's go again, one more.
One more, man?
Oh, man. All right, little bro.
Want more?
There is nothing hotter than real, honest to goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at, I wanna get that.
I was made for this.
Get with it or get lost.
You dropped the ball big time.
I'm throwing y'all my very own Miami yacht party.
It just shook up all of the dynamics.
Y'all ready for this?
Right now, the boxes are still in the Bahamas, waiting for the documents from Dubai. Mr. Adiola has now said that once the $32,000 payment is made, he will fly to Dubai to get the documents, then fly from Dubai to the Bahamas and bring the boxes to the United States and bring them to my house. I've just sent the last payment to Dubai.
Well, you've successfully wired a lot of money.
Yes, but it wasn't easy.
But it was
done.
You got her done.
Not 100%. I got some of the money got lost, actually. A wire to Germany did not make it. And,
okay, but does it make sense to you that in this day and time that it takes 6 years to get 2 boxes?
2 big steel boxes.
It takes 6 years to get them?
Let me explain something to you. When I went to Italy about 6 years ago, I was then still with my ex, and I bought her a inlaid wood turnstile that I watched being made. And you pay for it and you have it shipped to our house. When I opened that box up, there were 3 customs labels in there saying that they examined it and it's safe and it's okay to ship here. That was just a little cardboard box that was open 3 times. These are 2 big steel boxes that nobody can open. So I don't think customs is real happy about letting that happen. So it's not easy. It's very, very difficult.
So you've paid a bunch of customs fees, and you were actually paying fees for them to not open the boxes.
Yes, to trust Adiola that he saw the boxes, he saw the contents of the boxes, and to get documents saying that he did, and for them to say it's okay to bring them in.
So you sent custom fees to Nigeria, Malaysia, the United Arab Emirates, Germany, Latvia, Hawaii.
Not Latvia.
Greensboro, North Carolina, Russia, South Africa, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
United Kingdom and Canada.
Exactly.
The hell you sending it to Wisconsin for?
This woman in Wisconsin needed $200 for a sticker or a document or something. So I said, okay, but you are sitting on that side of the table saying all the things that makes this look like a scam.
No, I'm just
that's what you're saying.
No, I'm just being commonsensical.
Right.
I believe you are an intelligent man. You are a doctor. You're an educated man. You have to admit.
It looks like a scam.
No, I'm just saying, in 6 years, I believe little Abner could get 2 boxes.
Okay. Now let me ask you a question. If it was that easy, ISIS and Al-Qaeda could just ship some interesting weapons and chemical destruction supplies to the United States, couldn't they?
I have no doubt that they do.
I don't think it's that easy. And I think post 9/11, Customs and Immigration makes damn sure it's not easy.
Okay, so what you,
and that's unopened.
So what you've been doing is paying money so they won't open the boxes.
Yes.
You've been paying bribes.
I don't know. You could call it anything you want. I say that Mr. Adiola is working with Customs to trust him. He has looked in the boxes and he's a shipper. So you can say bribes if you want, because in essence, they are being paid to allow something to happen legally coming into the country. My understanding is smuggling is bringing something into the country illegally. Those are the boats that meet somebody on a dock at 10 o'clock at night or 2 in the morning. These are supposed to be shipped by Customs.
Well, you've been frustrated, right?
Incredibly, and that's why Cindy contacted you
to
help us.
Mr. Adiola has given a lot of excuses as to why these boxes have not arrived. He says the boxes were on Big Diomede Island. Is that how you pronounce it?
They were there before they went to the Bahamas.
Okay. The Bahamas Customs needed $32,000 for a shipping fee?
Okay, and I don't know if it's the Bahamas Customs, because the $32,000 went to Dubai.
But he said it was for Bahamas Customs.
He didn't use the word Bahamas Customs. He said it was for Customs. And the boxes were in Bahamas.
He said they needed stickers and documentation.
Yes.
New customs fees every time the boxes were to be released. Needs $2,500 for stamps on documents.
And he went to Dubai.
He just keeps saying, you need more, you need more, you need more. Now, you're defending it now, but I've read your dialogue with him.
Oh, I've been incredibly
You're saying
upset.
to him what I'm saying to you.
No,
you're saying,
more.
like, come on.
I said more to him than you're saying to me, but we can't say it here.
Right. So you've been very frustrated.
Incredibly frustrated.
Okay, now Mark claims that he has sent about $750,000 overseas to get 2 boxes containing millions in cash, jewelry, and diamonds. But his client and friend, Cindy, believes Mark has spent even more money than that, and he just didn't want me to know the entire amount. Well, we're going to meet her after the break and hear what she has to say about all of this.
It's a scam. It's just a plain scam. I don't know how Mark got sucked into this scheme. Mark believes wholeheartedly that he's going to come into millions of dollars with a beautiful woman.
And later...
I'm sorry, I don't think it's funny.
They're laughing at the absurdity.
I came here for help.
I don't have a horse in this race.
You want a show?
You're not a ratings grab.
There's probably one time when you weren't either. I'm just saying.
What is that supposed to be?
A fruit salad?
Season premiere, Worst Cooks in America, Sunday, January 1st at 8 on Food Network.
There's something new from Better Than Bouillon. Introducing the Culinary Collection. Chef-created flavor combinations like smoky chipotle and Italian herb that add a little something special to your family favorites. But don't take our word for it. The Culinary Collection from Better Than Bouillon.
This is exactly why we chose leaf filter. Before leaf filter, our gutters would get so clogged. I used to have to climb up on that roof.
Leaf filter was a lifesaver. The leaf filter installation process was so simple and easy.
When the salesman gave us interest-free financing and the price was right, it was a no-brainer.
Our downspouts flow freely now.
My home is better protected.
Thank you, Leaf Filter.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
Good food tastes better with $1 for Daisy. Do $1, do $1, yeah. Everything tastes better with $1 for Daisy.
Real, honest to goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at. I wanna get that.
I was made for this.
Get that.
Y'all ready for this?
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn
Yeah,
heat.
it's outside today.
You gonna invite me to that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8, 7 Central.
I'm almost 100% sure everything is real. I've spoken to Kelly on the phone 3 times. She does not sound Nigerian. She has a high, sweet voice that sounds like a woman from North America. She lived in the United Kingdom, and she knew exactly what Stonehenge was. She told me she was from Canada. A friend of mine had a cat named Canuck, and she started laughing because she knew Canuck is a hockey team in Canada.
All right, Mark says he can be gullible. He admits that, but he is not stupid, and he is 100% convinced that this is not a scam and that the woman named Kelly Smith is real. Now, even though he has never met Kelly in person, the two have a multi-million-dollar business deal in the works that they have been handling now for the last 6 years. But Mark's client and friend Cindy says Mark must be out of his mind because the whole thing, according to her, is a straight-up scam.
It's a scam. It's just a plain scam. She's young and she's attractive. Mark thinks it's real. He's been scammed over $1 million. He's doing it for this girl to bring her and her riches to the States to live happily ever after with him. He was newly separated from his wife and was lonely. 3 days after he started talking to Kelly in this chat room, she asked him for money. Kelly told Mark that she needed help to get the boxes and herself over here from Nigeria to be with Mark, but that has not happened yet. Mark is a smart doctor and he's loved by the whole town. I don't know how Mark got sucked into this scheme. Mark believes wholeheartedly that he's gonna come into millions of dollars with a beautiful woman. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I think he's been taken.
You're concerned about your friend, right?
Yes, that's why I wrote in.
Yeah, and you just don't want him to be hurt. You don't want him to go broke. You don't want him to get taken any more than he already has been.
Yeah, we're losing him.
Right, and why do you think this is a scam?
You just hear it on TV all the time. I've seen it on your show before, that people get taken all the time, and they, especially coming from Nigeria, they seem to prey on us. I think Nigeria is sort of looking at us like idiots.
Yeah.
You know, like, really? We can get all this money from this guy and, you know, and people, not just him, but there's other people.
Right. Now, you've spoken to this woman?
Yes.
How many times?
3 that I recall. 3.
In 6 years?
That's it.
Well, why haven't you spoken to her more than 3 times in 6 years?
She's living in squander. She is living with a friend that she met in a hotel that she was first staying at, named Bucky, and Bucky's son, Yemi, and Bucky's sister, Kenny, who doesn't live there but goes over often. They are in a very, very rural, poverty-stricken area of Nigeria, from what I understand. So getting a telephone is impossible. Mr. Adiola is a businessman who has a phone, international phone, but he lives about 5 or 6 hours away from her. If in the past she's had to meet with him to sign a document or whatever, and she's called me from his phone.
Would you think about sending her a phone?
I don't think it works that way, Dr. Phil. I don't think that sending her a phone means that she can get service and call from where she's at.
So, I mean, just in terms of internet and phone, she just doesn't have a good infrastructure
very poor
there.
access to internet, and she gets.
That's what she tells him, but that's not true. They got great internet over there.
She's been able to receive money.
Well,
how does she get the money?
The money doesn't go to her. She gets very, very little of this money, folks. I send her money for, as she says, toiletries and some living expenses sometimes, but I don't send her.
Well,
the major part of the money is going to.
We broke that down actually to see where that.
It's going to be fun.
What's that?
I said this is going to be fun.
No, you said you don't. Not much of it goes to her, so. I put this together so we can see actually where it went. You meet her in November of 2010 online, okay? So after you meet her, she starts talking to you about this. And in November of 2010 and December, there's a change of name of ownership on the boxes and customs payments, and that is $48,000. So you meet her in November, and in the first 30 days, you're paying $48,000. And this is to change name of ownership on these boxes. Now, that's to your name?
It was $23,000 to change the name for that. You showed the original document that the name was changed to.
Yeah.
And the rest was probably, I don't remember that, but it went to customs. But remember, you asked what I sent to Kelly.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. It's change the name and customs payments.
Right.
Okay, so at that point, you thought, I'm going to change this name where your name's on it and pay customs, and they're going to be shipped over here to you. So at that point, you're thinking $48,000, $6.5 million, pretty good investment. But the boxes didn't come.
No. You don't understand the story still.
I'm trying to understand the story.
I'm trying to explain it to you.
I keep asking you, and you keep saying, well, I don't know. I don't know. Don't tell me I don't understand the story. You're the one telling it. Closed captioning provided by...
Research shows people remember commercials with nostalgia. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, here's one that'll really take you back.
Wow! What'd you get, Ryan? It's customized home insurance from Liberty Mutual.
What does it do, bud?
It customizes our home insurance so we only pay for what we need. And what did you get, Mike? I got a bike.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I like to say that Sarah Vital has given me a new normal. Within, I'd say about 2 to 3 weeks, I already started to see changes.
I'm such a believer that it truly can change your quality of life.
You know, I don't expect to look 38 at 58, but I do want to feel great, and I want to look great.
Order now, because we're letting as many women as possible try Serovital for 90 days, absolutely risk-free. Go to tryserovital.com for your risk-free trial.
We all need fiber for our digestive health, but less than 10% of us get enough each day. Good thing Metamucil gummies are an easy way to get prebiotic plant-based fiber with the same amount of fiber as 2 cups of broccoli. Metamucil gummies, the easy way to get your daily fiber.
Guys, what are we always saying this campus needs? A decent place to get my eyebrows tinted? No. A strip show? It's a sex-positive strip-tacular.
It's also a fundraiser for climate change.
Y'all been naughty and nice.
No! Don't listen outside our door, it's creepy.
Excuse us for being messy bitches who love drama.
I done had to pass it back quick. I got an attitude cause I'm at that.
Next on Love in Maritinsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn
Yeah,
heat.
it's outside today.
You gonna invite me to that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8, 7 Central.
I'm taking you down bit by bit. I can't wait to see you try. It's only just begun.
It's been a frustrating process to get these boxes shipped from Nigeria to the United States. The first thing I had to do was pay to get the name changed from Kelly Smith to my name on the boxes. That was about $24,000. I did send money to customs in Hawaii, Germany, Greensboro, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and now Mr. Adiola has been on a boat for 6 weeks from Malaysia to an island between Russia and Alaska.
In January through March of the next year, you got to pay another $41,000, and this is for hotel fees, living expenses, and more customs fees.
Right.
So this is for this hotel she's living in, and her living expenses, and more customs fees.
I'm not sure she was in the hotel at that point. Bucky had her moved to her house. So you have to, if you're breaking that down properly, you have to understand that probably 95% of that was for customs.
Okay, but you're paying hotel fees for Kelly and Bucky and Yo-Yo, or who was the son?
I'm sorry, I don't think it's funny, Dr.
No,
Phil.
who was the son?
No, I'm just telling you.
Who was the son?
Who is what?
You said there was a nephew or a son or something?
Well, Bucky's son is named Yemi.
Yemi. Okay. For hotel fees. You're paying for all of them to live there?
No. That's why you don't understand the story still.
I'm trying to understand the story.
I'm trying to explain it to you.
I keep asking you, and you keep saying, well, I don't know. I don't know. Don't tell me I don't understand the story. You're the one telling it.
I'm telling you, you're getting it mixed up. She lived in a hotel at first. She met Bucky in the hotel. They befriended each other. Bucky invited her to come to her house instead of living at the hotel. So after a short period of time, maybe 6 months, maybe less, I was not paying hotel fees. She was then living with Bucky.
This isn't 6 months yet.
Right, so at that point, she
Don't tell me I don't understand. You keep telling me different stories.
I'm sorry, Dr. Phil, I was just trying to get the story straight.
Please. This is you tell a different story every time we ask you the question.
I know the story very well. I just don't know the exact dates.
Well, then don't tell me I'm getting it wrong when you don't know the dates, my friend.
You're making it seem like the money's going to the hotel fees. It's mainly very small.
That's because that's what you told us.
A small portion at first.
I don't make this up. I just met you today.
What'd I tell you?
I didn't know a hotel was involved unless you tell me. Okay, let's move on to 6 months here. Okay, now we're at April. So now we started back here in November. So now we get to 6 months. We're still paying hotel fees according to you.
No, I don't think she was in the hotel by 6 months.
So personal expenses and custom fees, we're paying $116,281 for this 8 month period,
Dr.
8 month
Phil,
period here.
When you first asked me, before you went up there, you said you're sending Kelly a lot of money. You please understand, this is not going, you said she's able to get money, right?
Right.
So the money is not going to Kelly.
Customs fees.
Mostly. The personal expenses at this point?
He sends personal money separate to
like
her.
$300 or $400 every couple of weeks, maybe a month.
The
every
big
couple
money he sends he's sending it to customs is what he's being told.
Okay, so 98% maybe custom fees.
Yes.
Okay? Small money here.
Yes.
Personal expenses.
Yes.
Fair? Feel better about?
Well, yeah, just trying to get the truth out there.
Okay, was that more accurate?
That's more accurate.
Because I didn't make the breakdown. I just said this is the categories that you gave us. Okay, now we're moving along. Okay, Kelly's personal expenses and more customs payments here for a 3-month period, $23,000. Moving along. We're now into the 5-month period for the rest of this year, another $58,000. Again, most of it is customs payments?
Always.
Always. Okay, now we're into 2013.
And you have to understand that that money to customs is not going to Nigeria often. Malaysia, Hawaii, Greensboro, Dubai, Germany. You just have to understand that.
Yeah, no, I put that list up early. So these boxes are bouncing around?
I don't think it works. Yes, they do, but my understanding is customs is all over the place, and they're trying to get the right people to allow the right thing to happen.
What do you mean customs is all over the place? Are the boxes moving?
I'm afraid I can't tell you exactly that. I don't know all the details.
Okay, if you're paying customs fees, it's because something is moving through customs. So the boxes must be moving.
I know they've moved up quite a lot. I can look at every one of these people and say, I know it can look like a scam. I know it looks crazy, but I can't explain everything.
Closed captioning provided by...
There is nothing hotter than real, honest-to-goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at, I wanna get that.
I was made for this.
Get with it or get lost. You dropped the ball big time.
I'm throwing y'all my very own Miami yacht party.
It just shook up all of the dynamics.
Y'all ready for this?
Theo's nose was cause for alarm, so Dad brought Puffs Plus lotion to save it from harm. Puffs has 50% more lotion and brings soothing relief. Don't get burned by winter nose. A nose in need deserves Puffs indeed. America's #1 lotion tissue.
This is Jack. Before using TheraBreath mouthwash, he had gum problems. Now,
it's swishy time.
Swishing with TheraBreath Healthy Gums mouthwash helps fight gingivitis for 24 hours.
Come on in for that close-up, baby.
Plus, it helps control plaque that leads to bleeding gums.
Is it weird if I think you're beautiful? Nah.
So when Jack looks in the mirror, he sees his best self.
Perfection.
Dentist-formulated TheraBreath mouthwash.
It's a better mouthwash. I guarantee it.
You hear about cancer. I just was afraid that I would lose my son.
You think, why us? You know, why me? Why my child?
You can join the battle to save lives by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
It is such a gift to give hope back to a family. As a dad, I'm eternally grateful.
La palabra esperanza para mí es que mi niño va a vivir.
Join St. Jude with your debit or credit card for only $19 a month, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt.
St. Jude is only possible because of the people who donate. You're saving children's lives. You're keeping families together during the hardest thing they'll ever face.
Please call or go online right now and become a St. Jude Partner in Hope.
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn
Yeah,
heat.
it's outside today.
You gonna invite me to that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8, 7 Central.
So you were paying customs fees in Nigeria, Malaysia, here. You said not here.
No.
You said not Latvia. Hawaii. You sent money to Greensboro, Russia, South Africa, Wisconsin, United Kingdom, and Canada.
Correct.
So this was all for customs, but the boxes weren't necessarily there?
I know they were in a lot of those places, but like South Africa, the boxes weren't there. She had to go with Adiola to South Africa to sign some documents.
For boxes that weren't in South Africa?
They weren't in South Africa, not at that time. I don't think so.
Okay. Why would you go to South Africa to sign documents for customs?
You have to call Mr. Adiola.
For boxes that aren't in South Africa?
I'm not a shipper. Look, I can look at every one of these people and say, I know it can look like a scam, but what you haven't given me a chance is to explain some of the facts and reasons why I think she's real and not lying to me.
We'll get to plenty of that, but I'm just asking you.
Yes, I know it looks crazy, but I can't explain everything.
What the hell does South Africa have to do with moving boxes from Nigeria to the United States?
I can only tell you they were there because that's where I sent the money. So if this is a scam, they sure know a lot of people all around the world. They probably do. Maybe you're right.
Well, if she could go from Nigeria to South Africa, why couldn't she come here?
If I sent her the money, she could, but there was no benefit to her coming here. She's better off in Nigeria, where she's in more control of Adiola and more control of what's going on.
In 6 years, you didn't think she wanted to come chat you up a little bit, have dinner?
No.
Talk about your partnership or anything of the sort in 6 years?
No reason for it. When she was in South Africa, I said I'd meet her there, and she didn't want me to.
Why?
Well,
it's really a serious situation here. You know,
thank
it's just sad.
Listen, they're not laughing because it's funny. They're laughing at the absurdity of it.
Right.
It's not because this is ha-ha humorous. They're laughing at the absurdity of it. So don't get self-righteous about people laughing. They're laughing at the absurdity of it.
I'm here for help.
Well, you're getting it. I don't have a horse in this race.
You got a show.
What?
I mean, we want a show. You want a show?
Oh, friend, let me tell you.
You don't need a show.
That's what Kelly tells him.
No, that's not.
That
Let me
is
tell
what
you.
Other people too.
Don't flatter yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Phil. I came here to ask for help. That's all I came here for.
You're not a ratings grab.
Thank you, Dr. Phil. There was probably one time when you weren't either. I'm just saying, we're all human. I made mistakes, you make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. I'm just trying to get some help.
Well, then let me help you.
I know, but you can help me in a nice way, you can help me in a hard way.
And how's it going so far?
I think you're looking at me like I'm stupid, and this whole thing is absurd, like you said, and I don't think you know the whole story yet.
Well, I'm asking you questions, and when you don't have answers, you get defensive. And I think it's because maybe you've asked yourself these questions before.
Fair enough.
Come on. Personal expenses and customs payments, $37,000. This just keeps going. Let's just jump to the final page and the final total here, because the pattern doesn't change. It just keeps going. Boom, 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 boom. And we have a total. And you say that total's not real.
Yeah, I mean, he said it to me that he thinks it's more than that, but he didn't want me to tell you because he didn't want
I just don't know the exact number. It could be more. That's all there is to it. It's not over $1 million. It's not under $700,000. I don't know where it is in there exactly.
Cindy claims she immediately told Mark he was being scammed when she first heard of Kelly Smith. So how did she get involved with helping him send money overseas? I'm going to ask that question when we come back. I want to stop this conversation. You said, I'm jumping to conclusions here.
I don't think this woman is a Nigerian scammer.
I tried everything to remove fabric odors, but my clothes still smelled. Until I finally found new Downy Rinse and Refresh. Unlike many other products, Downy Rinse and Refresh doesn't cover odors or leave residues. It helps remove them. It's safe on all fabrics and gentle on skin. Just add to your fabric softener tray. Downy Rinse and Refresh helps remove odors up to 3 times better than detergent alone, so fabrics look and smell clean. Try new Downy Rinse and Refresh. Guaranteed or your money back. Find it in the fabric softener aisle or online.
This is exactly why we chose Leaf Filter.
Before Leaf Filter, our gutters would get so clogged.
I used to have to climb up on that roof.
Leaf Filter was a lifesaver.
The Leaf Filter installation process was so simple and easy.
When the salesman gave us interest-free financing and the price was right, it was a no-brainer.
Our downspouts flow freely now.
My home is better protected.
Thank you, Leaf Filter.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
For some, the rush of life is also the rush of escape. This is the BMW X1. Take control of your next adventure with a bolder design and more versatile performance. This X1 is ready for that journey. From exhilarating all-wheel drive to the intelligent BMW curved display, your next escape is as simple as starting the engine. The X1 BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
It's a new leader in town now.
Well, you the one just threatening me? Baby, dad here. That's what I say. Come for me, go low. If you want to, I'm going to hell. Okay?
I have sent money all over the world. In the beginning, it was very easy, but now MoneyGram or Western Union will stop me.
Mark came to me to send money for him to Kelly, and I agreed. Mark had run out of his own money.
Kelly contacted a friend and asked him if he could help us out. This guy wired $35,000 into my account. If she was scamming me, it doesn't make sense that she would have somebody wire that money to me.
I was transferring money to many different names. I got blocked a couple of times because I caught on to some of the names. They would say, this name has been associated with a scam. Mark told me that they don't know what they're talking about, they're idiots.
Mark says Western Union and MoneyGram banned him from wiring money overseas 3 years ago after he sent approximately $750,000 to a woman he met online, but he has never met in person. His friend Cindy says Mark recruited her after he was banned and had her driving all over town sending $1,000 every day. Now, Cindy says she was even told by one of the money wiring services that the person she was sending money to was a scammer. But Mark says he has been sending money for 6 years and knows what he is doing.
She just came into it 3 months ago or so when I asked her for help, and she saw how upset I was, and that's when she realized that this is affecting my life a lot more than I ever dreamed it would, and that's when she wrote to you for help.
Okay, now, I want to stop this conversation here, and you said, I'm jumping to conclusions here because I don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
So what is it I don't know that if I know, I wouldn't be judgmental?
I don't think this woman is a Nigerian scammer, okay? And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about these Nigerian scammers. Friends of mine have sent me pictures of, in the room, of these scammers or these people all working on these different computers, just doing these, what do they call this, 700?
Right, but what is it I don't know?
Right. So, she speaks French fluently. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not saying that that alone is a reason to believe her, but she's from French Canada, and she knows French. So that's one thing that says to me, maybe she's telling the truth. At the beginning, I doubted her tremendously. I joined the internet.
Okay, but you're telling me why she's not a scammer. One, she speaks French.
She speaks
Two?
French. She knew what a Canuck was. I didn't know what a damn Canuck was, and she did. And that's only,
two.
Right. She said to me once when, very early on, and we were really early, 6 months into it, I was so upset, and I typed in there, Kelly, how much more can I take? And she said, how much more do you want? The reason why I thought that was interesting is because I was saying how much more can I take emotionally, and she immediately, not hearing the emotion, said, how much more do you want, as from the boxes? So I think, and okay, that's another thing. I thought that was interesting. Dr. Phil, I watch your show. I watch Judge Judy more. One of the things that I love about what Judge Judy says is if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. I have not once in 6 years caught Kelly Radiola in a lie.
She speaks French fluently. There are 4 primary languages in Nigeria. One of them is French. Okay, she knows what a Canuck is, and she's consistent with her facts.
Very.
Okay.
That's.
Okay, anything else?
I just don't know. There's so many things.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Is there a possibility that this is a scam? Kelly didn't want you to come here.
What she said was, you're not really interested in helping.
We offered to fly her here. She tried to scam me. Closed captioning provided by...
There is nothing hotter than real, honest-to-goodness love.
Mama wanna tell you where it's at, I wanna get that.
I was made for this.
Get with it or get lost. You dropped the ball big time.
I'm throwing y'all my very own Miami yacht part.
It just shook up all of the dynamics.
Y'all ready for this?
Now, there is a revolutionary airbrush designed to use for both makeup and hair. Introducing the all-new Breeze for makeup and hair. The fast and easy way to transform your entire look and look years younger instantly. Breeze covers all your dark circles or age spots with our legendary full even coverage. Then switch the makeup to the hair attachment to instantly touch up grays so you can get a complete makeover at home in minutes.
Bring the drops in.
Just hit the button, real simple.
So easy. It knows exactly where it needs to blend and where it needs to go.
It doesn't even look like I'm wearing makeup. I can't stop staring at myself.
Yes, that's incredible.
The Breeze is a game changer.
It's not caked on like the regular makeup.
Right now, I have the makeup attachment, which will give you that flawless finish that Luminous is known for. Now watch this. I just pop it off. Now we have the hair attachment. Oh, just pop it on.
Wow.
So easy. So see this gray?
Wow.
Amazing. The hair, the makeup, it really is the all-in-one system that makes you look 10 years or more younger.
Before, this is after. Yeah, I am so impressed.
You can see the redness on my face right around this cheek right here start to disappear. Everything is completely blended, and now I just transfer from the makeup attachment over to the hair attachment. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little low light right around to frame my face. And let's see what we got here as we wave this thing all the way out through the tip. Do you guys see that? Yeah, I'm impressed. Let's see how natural it looks. I've got 2-in-1 in just a matter of minutes. Just like that. I mean, I'm done.
Our Breeze airbrush for makeup gives you the best coverage with 10 times less makeup with 3 times the coverage. Blemishes seem to disappear instantly. Age spots and fine lines seem to fade away in seconds. Our Breeze makeup is all in one. It's your anti-aging, moisturizing primer, concealer, and foundation, all in one simple step. It lasts up to 18 hours and works for all skin types. And with so many shades, we give you a color match guarantee. And now you can also use our Breeze for Hair Kit to add highlights, lowlights, fill in or cover grays for a completely natural appearing all new look.
You just have to try this. You'll never go back.
We have big news. For the first time ever, our Breeze airbrush is now designed to use for both makeup and hair to instantly transform for a fully complete look.
It's so precise. It's not getting on my clothes. All because of this precision tip.
Call or go online right now to trybreeze.com and get an instant 50% savings to Try Breeze, our all-new best ever airbrush for makeup to try at home for only $19.95, and you'll even get free shipping. Hold everything. Use this special promo code TRYBREEZE today before time runs out, and you also get our complete Breeze for Hair Makeover Kit, an $89 value to try as an included bonus. Specially designed to airbrush hair, Breeze for Hair creates a mist so fine it will instantly cover grays that look so completely natural, it'll look like you spent hours at the salon. Fill in for a fuller, thicker thicker look, add highlights or lowlights. And with a full range of blendable shades, you'll get your personalized hair shades for the most natural look. They're completely water resistant and easily shampoos out when you're done.
It easily washes out in the shower.
This $89 value is yours as a bonus when you take advantage of this limited time offer to try Breeze right now. You get it all, both makeup and hair, with our new all-in-one Breeze airbrush. It's the fast and easy way to get a total transformation that looks years younger instantly. We're so confident you're going to love our new best ever all-in-one makeup and hair Breeze airbrush. We give you a full 30-day money-back guarantee.
It is literally the same size as a smartphone.
It is. Look at that. Our Breeze makeup and hair cosmetics feature clean ingredients, leaving out ingredients we don't want on our skin or hair. Breeze is touchless, oil-free, paraben-free, never tested on animals, and our cosmetics are made in the USA. Our Breeze airbrush is also cordless and rechargeable, self-cleaning, and you'll be saving a lot of money in between salon visits with Breeze for both makeup and hair.
Here with the Breeze, I get everything all in one, and it doesn't cost more money. The results really are fabulous.
Remember, call or go to trybreeze.com. Use the promo code right now to try Breeze makeup and hair to get the fast and easy way for a complete transformation in minutes. It's all yours to try for just $19.95.
Genius what Luminous has done, because you get everything all in one.
I mean, come on, your makeup, your hair. I mean, this is unbelievable. All in one little device.
There's never been a faster, easier way to do your makeup and hair to look years younger. Breeze is not available in stores. You can only get this exclusive offer here, so don't wait.
Order your new makeup and hair Breeze airbrush now. Call 800-733-9692 or go to trybreeze.com.
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell.
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn
Yeah,
heat.
it's outside today.
You gonna invite me to that house? Don't play with me like that.
Love and Marriage Huntsville. New episode, Saturday at 8/7 Central.
Well, we've run out of time, but I still have a whole lot more to say to Mark. Tomorrow, we ramp up our investigation and dig deeper. Where are these elusive boxes containing $6.5 million in cash and jewelry and diamonds? Our international investigative team tracked the two boxes all over the globe to locate the whereabouts. Do Kelly Smith and Mr. Adiola really exist? We went to the addresses that Mark gave us for the two in Nigeria, and you're going to find out what we discovered when we arrive on the ground in Nigeria. Take a look. You're going to see all of this and a whole lot more tomorrow. You do not want to miss that. I want to thank all of my guests today. We'll see you next time.
On an all-new Dr. Phil. He's helping a woman he's never met.
This is a scam email. You were the one I desire.
I said, Kelly, you didn't write this.
And then you sent $1 million.
She's supposed to ship him boxes filled with cash and diamonds.
You don't go to 5 different countries to ship a box. I don't care what's in it. I sent a field reporter to Nigeria.
So right now, we're about to look for 6 addresses.
The Dr. Phil investigation.
We checked out the shipping company. It does not exist. This is a made-up document.
Is he being scammed?
If this is real, I will come to the dock and help you load the boxes in your trunk. Bring out these boxes. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
How you doing? Thank you very much. Well, yesterday I sat down with Mark, a respected doctor who said he met a woman named Kelly Smith on an online dating site. Now, Mark claims Kelly told him that her father passed away and left her $3.5 million in cash and $3 million in jewelry and diamonds. Now, she supposedly put her inheritance into 2 metal boxes and promised to split everything with him if he helped her get the boxes to the U.S. from Nigeria. So Mark says he paid $22,000 to have the ownership of the boxes changed to his name. He then sent hundreds of thousands of dollars to Nigeria, Dubai, and Malaysia to cover customs fees. Although Mark says he was promised on 6 different occasions that the boxes were on their way, it's been 6 years, and the boxes still have not arrived. But that has not stopped Mark, who is convinced that Kelly and the boxes are real.
I met Kelly on Match.com. She seemed really nice. I decided to help her because she made me a partner. I've been working with a professional shipper that Kelly hired named Adiola. We're afraid if the boxes are opened by customs somewhere around the world, they will be stolen.
It's a scam. It's just a plain scam. I don't know how Mark got sucked into this scheme.
I've spent over $750,000 getting these boxes shipped to this country.
You met on the dating site, right?
Yes, she's attractive.
And her father passed away and left her 2 boxes in Nigeria. Box 1 has $3.5 million.
Yes.
Box 2, there's $3 million in diamonds and jewelry. So you sent custom fees to Nigeria, Malaysia, the United Arab Emirates, Germany, Latvia, Hawaii, Wisconsin. What the hell are you sending it to Wisconsin for? I got 2 words for you. FedEx?
Yeah.
You are an intelligent man. In 6 years, I believe little Abner could get 2 boxes. You meet her in November, and in the first 30 days, you're paying $48,000. Then you got to pay another $41,000 for hotel fees, living expenses, and more customs fees.
You're making it seem like the money's going to the hotel fees. It's mainly very
That's
small.
because that's what you told us.
At first
I don't make this up. I just met you today. In 6 years, you didn't think she wanted to come chat you up a little bit?
I tell him about the Africa trip. She was in Africa.
Oh,
you were going to
South
go.
Africa. When she was in South Africa, I said I'd meet her there, and she didn't want me to.
Why?
Well,
I'm not saying that for people to laugh, because it's really a serious situation here.
They're not laughing because it's funny. They're laughing at the absurdity of it.
Right.
I don't have a horse in this race.
You want to show?
Oh, friend, let me tell you, don't flatter yourself. Let's just jump to the final total here.
I have not once in 6 years caught Kelly or Adiola in a lie.
Let me ask you this. Is there a possibility that this is a scam?
Yes, I'm sure. Yes, there's definitely a possibility.
We have to agree to entertain all possibilities.
Please.
And if you convince me, if this is real, I will come to the dock with you and help you load the boxes in your trunk. Let's think about common sense. If you have boxes at A and you're shipping them to B, you have to agree that there is not one reason in the world people would be going to Malaysia, South Africa, 10 other places. You just ship a damn box from A to B. I mean, it happens every day. You don't go to 5 different countries to ship a box. I don't care what's in it. You have to agree that commonsensically, that's out of the ordinary.
Yes.
Would you agree that doesn't make common sense?
That's not what I thought it was going to be at first either.
One of the things we've been able to do that you can't do is to trace certain things. And you got an email that Mr. Adiola sent you on April 27th of this year, 2016. It said, "Sir, we just passed Saudi Arabia custom now. I will keep you updated as we move to the next destination. Okay? Well, this is the email that he sent you. We have very high-tech IT people, and he did not send you that email.
From there.
From there. That email was sent from Ajman, United Arab Emirates, not Saudi Arabia, where he said he was. It was sent from over here, approximately 35 miles northeast of Dubai, and that is a 2-hour flight, 548 miles from where he said he was.
Interesting.
That was a flat-out lie. On July 7th of this year, sir, we can't leave the boat because going to the hotel would cost us a lot of money. So the pilot contacts some food inspections, so to bring food for us that will last us sometimes. But the pilot keep complaining, but I told him not to worry, that when we deliver the boxes, I will add to his fees. Sir, I just want this to be over. Anyway, I confirm 5 confirmations from you, $950 each, $950 each. Mr. Adiola claimed he was on a boat in the Bahamas with the boxes, right? He's with them in the Bahamas. The problem was, we traced it, and it shows that he was in Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. Distance between Nigeria and the Bahamas, 5,706 miles, a 20-hour flight. He's not in the Bahamas on a boat with your boxes. He's in Nigeria.
That's surprising, and I'm sorry. That's what I needed to know.
Well, there's more. Kelly didn't want you to come here.
What she said was, you just want to use me for a show, and you're not really interested in helping.
Did you take a picture of the dressing room and send it to her this morning?
Yes.
And later, bring out these boxes. Come over here.
Next on Love and Marriage Huntsville.
I think I saw an interview, and they asked Mel how she doing with Martell's new boo thing. Oh, she felt probably happier when he was leveling down. But the level up is kind of a gut punch.
Hey, Martell?
Hey, what up? And don't keep me outside all this damn
Yeah,
heat.
it's outside today.
You gonna invite me to that house?